Hey everyone. I thought I'd make this quick video after my first impressions with the Helix Stadium. I haven't made a video in a long time, so this is a bit quick and dirty. My mom would be embarrassed I didn't clean up for you guys. My office is still a little out of control. Boxes everywhere, guitar cases open, you get the drill. But I thought I'd make this for you anyway, in case somebody is wondering just how quickly can you get the Helix Stadium up and running with almost no help. I have been reading threads over the last little while. Didn't intend to buy the stadium until last week, and just kind of got curious and thought I'd figure it out. I did buy the Helix floor really early on. Like, I might have had the first one in Canada. I pre-ordered it. I picked it up on the day of release. It lived on the East Coast. I was probably one of the first people to have one in my hands in this particular country, but I haven't owned one in a long time. Have used off and on, maybe HX Stomp or what have you over time, but not regularly and not recently at all. So I thought I would just kind of dive in, and I didn't bother to record the unboxing or any of those things for you guys. Just booted it up, turned it on, put it on Wi-Fi, updated it. That is a super simple process. You do not need a video for that. And here's what I did. I'm just going to replicate how I created my first patch. So this isn't you watching me do it live, it's just me sort of replicating, but I thought the results were pretty good given the time that I put into it. So here we go. I knew the first thing I wanted to do was add an amplifier, and I wanted to use the new Agora amps, so I threw in double black twin reverb, because for me the best sound that I can get for the music that I usually play is probably a Fender amp with a Vox amp. So throw in my Fender amp. I think the deluxe reverb is a bit too gained up for me on the Helix videos that I've seen so far. And then I put in splits, grabbed another amp. You might have guessed, put in the Essex. That's great for now. I knew in my setup that I'd want to have a compressor, so I went and put in the Kinky Comp. Why? No particular reason. A couple of overdrive pedals. This did take me a little bit of movement to figure out what would fit in the patch that I wanted to create. So what I eventually landed on, the Heir Apparent, which is a Prince of Tone, not King of Tone, and the Prize Drive. Boom. There we go. All of these are going to start off, except the compressor. Okay. Then I went and changed the output here down to path 2, and started to drop in, sort of my end of chain stuff. So reverb, I went with Dynamic Hall, and I also put on an LA2A. You know what? I messed this up. This should be the stereo version of that, and I think I just put in the mono one. So Dynamic Hall, here we go. Last thing in the chain was a stereo version of, whoops, the LA2A. And then I put in 2 delay pedals in series, so I haven't used these in a while, so I just went with things that I typically like. I am typically a fan of the Memory Man, which is called an Elephant Man, because I want these to be in parallel. I split here and remerged here, and then down here, just for something different, I put in the Adriatic delay. Okay, again, we'll turn these off for now. I mean, I think this is so intuitive, and I understand that, like, I've used this setup before, but man, this is easy. My Helix is kind of sitting over here on the desk to my left. I'm connected by Wi-Fi. I didn't need any extra cables to do any of this. it's so straightforward. I can't imagine how the UI would be better than what it is right now. Something I didn't do the first time, I had to make my patch twice because I forgot to save it. So make sure you save your preset as video 1 or whatever you want to save it as, and click save as new. That is a mistake that I made. So now these two patches, you can see here Tim's preset, the one I made, and the one you're looking at, except for slight positioning changes, are exactly the same. So that's as quick as I could create a patch. Okay, so the next thing I did was I started actually playing with some sounds, and you can't use focus mode the same way that you can on the Stadium in the software, which, okay, that's a choice. But what you can see is when I start moving things, you can see how they're set up. So here is the sound right now with no changes at all. I'm using my 335, and yeah, you can probably hear sounds like a guitar amp. Okay, sounds like an amp. So I think I turned on the compressor. Which is funny because compression is not something that I would typically use unless I was using a modeler. It's not on my pedal board at all, and yeah, it just isn't something I would use if I wasn't using a modeler, but because it's a modeler, I put it in. What I did next was I went and just listened to each amp individually. So if I turn off the amp and cab, and then went into US double black and listened to it, realize I'm getting a little hum off my screen, so I keep turning off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that reverb off for a hot second, and I'm going to go back into home, bring in my block, grab. So I think what I did was first I went to smooth a little bit. That sounds a little bassy to me. So then I thought, you know what? I actually don't really like the sound of Jensen's. You caught me trying to tap my screen there. I do not have a tap screen. So I went in and changed the cabinet. And let's see if I can be as effective at this here. I went to the 212 Interstate, which I like. I keep begging people to figure out a way to give me a 2-rock amp in this position. Nobody's done it yet. I like 2-rock cabs. I assume this 212 Interstate is probably one from Dr. Z. But it's cool. It's close enough. And that was okay. Maybe just a little bassy to me. So came in, dialed back the bass a little bit, brought that back up. All right, so that's close. Fine enough. And then I did the same thing for the box. So turn these two off. Turn these two on. Didn't mess with the cab. Get into focus view on the amp. Move this somewhere between creamy and sparkle. At this point I'm going to save a little bit. Again. That's probably a little brighter than I would want it if I was playing it on its own. But if I'm going to play it with the twin, I think I did add some high cut, if I remember correctly. I also think I brought the drive down in the 3 region on both amps, because I don't really want these amps doing a lot of work on their own. Okay, and then if I do drives, I wanted a mid push from the air apparent. That's one of the options you've got. Again, I didn't go all the way to the corners on any of these when I was using focus view. I just kind of went in between the middle and that. Good. That's a little buzzy for my liking, and I'm probably going to stack these at some point. So prize drive, what did I do? Mid gain. I went out this way. Less gain I tend to use. So now let's go into that compressor, and I'm just going to set it up a little bit for some subtle limiting, and I think I dropped the level down a little bit because it was driving my preamp, which I just use a volt. It's nothing special. I wanted to make sure I wasn't clipping anything unnaturally. And then I went into the dynamic reverb, the dynamic hall, and set it for medium. To get super fussy about that, I would still probably say that I think there's a bit too much modulation on those trails. By the way, when I was in here and I was playing around with it, I also noticed that you can turn the trails on and off, so I did that. I'm realizing that it's not always following me on the screen. My apologies for that. And then I set up my delays, dotted eighth. You can change the mix on that if you want. I probably want a bit more mix of that. I don't tend to be one of those people that just leaves delays on for the sake of leaving them on all the time. If I turn a delay on, I actually want it to be an effect. I want it to be noticeable. So if I go into the focus view of the Adriatic, remember? But I also wanted the time to be quarter. And now if I turn them both on at the same time, right, I've got a rhythmic delay. They do that phasing thing right now, which I don't love, so I would change that eventually. But yeah, that's about a preset for me. I don't play as much as most of you do anymore. I have another job at my church. So I'm not the music guy anymore and haven't been for 5 years or so. So every time I pick up a guitar, I'm a little bit self-conscious. But when I sit around and I play this and I just kind of mess around for myself, it feels great. It feels like I'd want. I might turn the drive on that one down a bit. Anyway, so I think it took me like, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe 15, to set up a sound that was usable. I posted it on the gear page once. I'll probably go and post again here in a second. But I feel like I could take this patch and go play a church gig because everything's on the Helix now. Tap tempo, tuner, all the buttons, and I might not nail, all the sounds. But I'd get in the ballpark with just about anything that we would need to play at church. And I don't just play at church, but that would be probably the primary place I play these days. So I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Peace.